To Mish Productions. I'm here with with the course director at Full Sail, Eric Rutledge.
Hello, Logan. How are you, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good.
All right. So, reading up on your history, I saw that
Mhm.
you went to Western Michigan University. Was there any
Yes.
specific reason you went there?
So I'm from Michigan. I liked this communication school they had there. I went away when I was after my sophomore year. I stayed at home for a couple of years and did schooling there, and then went away. I was there for 3 years and graduated in '95. So really, just I wanted to be on air at the beginning of my college career and realized that behind the scenes was something I kind of gravitated towards. And I then found the director role, and I then had a goal to kind of shoot for that. And I directed everything when I was at college, and then started working at Channel 3 my last semester of college. And then I started doing local news and directing those things. And then I was able to learn all the other positions behind the camera to get me better at directing as well. So
All right. It's a mighty long paragraph.
yeah.
So, when you started at college, did you originally plan to get into your field like at with a PGA? Was that originally
No,
the plan?
no, that was not. I was kind of growing up a big fan of sports, and I watched golf and I played golf, but I was really watching all sports up in Detroit. So I was enamored by the on-air people that I would watch locally in Detroit, and I kind of studied what they were doing. So no, I was kind of all over the place with sports. I was a big sports fan. And then I sent resumes out in 2000, and I wanted to get out of the cold weather. That was one part of it. And Golf Channel was one of the 20 resumes I sent out to different, mostly networks and some locals as well. And that's when I got into the golf world in early 2001. I got the job about a month later after sending those resumes after interviewing down here in Orlando. So that's how I got there.
All right. How'd you start? What did you start as in the
So I
golf?
started as associate director, and knowing that my goal and my path was going to be directing. I had been directing for 6 years at a local level at that point, and was ready for a change to get me to a network level, and ready to challenge myself to get into bigger chairs and bigger directing chairs. And I knew that's what I wanted to do though when I was still in school. So this was a way. Um, I started as an AD, was watching the directing, learning how to direct a golf channel way on a network level, and understanding that we're reaching bigger, more homes now. This was 6 years. I started my interview was the 6 year anniversary of Golf Channel being on the air. So it was pretty new still. So we were all kind of learning together and building the network together, which was a lot of fun. And but I was always going to go the director route.
Mhm. So would you call yourself a one of the builders of the Golf Channel has become?
I would say that I helped it. I'm certainly not a builder of that. I think we were trying to figure out if this network would work, even 6 years into it, but it was pretty established by the time I got there. There was a lot of people before me that did a lot of really hard work to get it on the air. So I certainly can't say I was a builder. I helped. I was part of the teams that helped that were sent out to the tournaments. I started traveling in 2003. So I would travel shows. I would help direct the shows on the road, pre and post game shows, some instructionals as well. So I was part of those teams for sure. And we were all trying to figure it out to make it to the network it is today. So I was certainly part of that team, but not, I wouldn't call myself a builder. There's a lot that came before me that did that. So.
Yeah. But you did play a important role.
I think so. I mean, I'm proud to say that I was part of those teams, and a lot of really talented people though that I worked alongside with that and I was just one part of that wheel that kept it moving forward.
So you must have been busy in those early days.
Yeah, I mean, we were still a growing network at that time. Um, but it was busy, but it was a lot of fun. We would go to tournaments at different places all around the country, and or we would cover the majors in Orlando or at the tournament itself. So it was a lot of fun. Got to kind of watch Tiger Woods' career take off, and he was everything to us and what we were covering. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun and a lot of great memories of going to some really neat places and trying to figure out the best way to cover the sport, which is a great sport to cover.
So before getting into the career path of broadcasting and managing, did you ever play a sport like golf, like on a professional level?
No, nothing on a professional level. I kind of grew up playing baseball my whole life through high school. Continued with softball after the fact, after high school into college. I played every sport. Besides soccer, I think I played everything organized, basketball, football, baseball. And then I started golfing when I was in seventh grade. So this was in the mid 80s or so. I started playing golf with my dad. So I always loved the sport. And then the first time I saw Golf Channel around 96, 97, when I was living in Michigan still, I was really watching that and thinking that could be a place I would like to be. And I knew it was in Orlando. I didn't know anyone in Orlando, but I knew that was kind of a really cool opportunity. And then, 4 years after the first time I saw the network itself, that's when Tiger won in '97, who won his first Masters. And that kind of then exploded at that point. The game really started taking off. It was already established, obviously, but Golf Channel really started to as well. And I would watch it a little bit more. So never played collegiately any sport, but certainly played all sports and still coach a lot of sports now with my kids.
Yeah. Well, speaking of coaching, you're certainly a busy person. You're a course
Mm,
director at Full Sail. You still do the PGA Tour and you
mm.
coach. So, how do you manage
Yeah.
to balance your family life, your coaching life, your school life, all that?
Yeah, it's prioritizing what's important. I think my children and my family are first as far as that. So the coaching with my two sons and my daughter, and just supporting them, my daughter with dance, and then the boys as well. So just supporting them. I learned a long time ago to really prioritize what's important in my life, and then really then put all my efforts into that. The teaching and the mentoring of students like yourself, that is something I really enjoy. And I didn't do until 2020 officially coming to Full Sail. But I always felt like I was doing that when I was directing a Golf Channel. I was trying to mentor, I was trying to lead, I was trying to help others. So it was kind of a natural fit for me. And that's something that I enjoy doing. So, and the directing, I direct PGA Tour Live. I'm one of their freelance lead directors. I'll do 13 events, I think, this year. So that's a lot of fun. And I get to work with people I worked with at Golf Channel. I get to stay in the chair and be current with directing on ESPN Plus, and then I can also bring my students up to St. Augustine and then teach them a different way and teach them how to direct and do different things, and they can see it um, and firsthand, and they can really be around it. So all of those things, Logan, I enjoy being called a coach. I enjoy being called a teacher. I enjoy being called a director. I enjoy mainly the number one thing I enjoy being called is dad. And that when you are interested in what you're doing and you're excited about what you're doing, then it becomes easy to manage, really easy to manage.
Mhm. A lot of titles. Must be
Yeah.
nice.
Hmm.
Like to see your job resume someday.
Yes. Yeah, it's got a lot there, but it's all stuff I enjoy for sure. So and I hope that it comes across that way when we're talking when I'm teaching you all as well, that I think you get to a point in life where you hope that your work is respected, and hope that you're respected as a human and an individual. And I think that all starts with being kind to others, and that all starts with being helpful and supporting others and trying to help others through and to mentor and teach as you go. So.
Yeah. So what exactly made you come to Full Sail? Was it someone offering you the position? It just happened to work because you're in Orlando? Was it because you wanted to help out students?
Yeah, so a lot was happening in 2020. As you know, the pandemic was happening, and it was, but like right before the pandemic hit, we found at Golf Channel, it was announced that we were with NBC Sports for 10 years prior to that. And NBC Sports was going to move, or Golf Channel was going to move for all live show based. Um, all the people live show that were full time would be affected by the move to Stamford, Connecticut, is where NBC Sports was. So Golf Channel was moving at some point in 2020. We didn't know when, but um, it happened in December of 2020. So I needed to figure out, I was not going to move to Connecticut. My job wasn't necessarily available in Connecticut as well. There was a lot of people that were already up there that were doing a really good job with it. So, and I was in management at the time. I wasn't directing as much at the time. And so, yeah, I needed to figure out my next step. And I reached out to people that I trusted in the industry. One of those being Eric Saperstein, who I worked together with the Golf Channel for 8 or 9 years, was still a good friend of mine. He introduced me to Gus Ramsey. I knew about Full Sail, and I had hired a couple of people at Golf Channel from Full Sail, and I knew the kind of student that was coming out of Full Sail, but I didn't know much about the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. He introduced me to Gus Ramsey, who was the program director in June of 2020, and we talked for 2 or 3 months, and really sold me on the program and how much they were building it, what they were doing, and all the fun things that were ahead for that program. So, and then in October 2020, 6 weeks after I was done at Golf Channel, I accepted the job at Full Sail. And for the first year, I was really trying to help the studio and the control room and creating some standard operating procedures and take us to the next level there. And I'd like to think that we have. And then I got the intro to sportscasting in November 2021, and that's how I met you all. So so that's kind of how I got there. It was a thing out of at first necessity, looking for another position, and then PGA Tour Live came shortly after that. But I'm so thankful that I reached out to Eric that day, and I'm so thankful that I can be there to teach you all on campus, online as well. But I wouldn't be there if I didn't reach out, and I wouldn't be there if Golf Channel wasn't moving to Connecticut. So I look at all of that as a blessing.
It all kind of worked out. Everything has a reason for happening.
For sure. That is definitely true. So.
So at first, when the PGA came back and when you were actually working at Full Sail, did you originally find it hard to balance Full Sail and the PGA Live Tour? Or do you think it just worked out?
Well, I went and visited in 2021, PGA Tour Live in the fall of 2021. I had some friends over there. David Gross was a producer over there. He and I worked together on Morning Drive at Golf Channel. I was talking with him. I was talking with Jackie Petty over there. There's a few people that helped get me in the door over there. And and just to see what they were doing. And then around that time, at the end of 2021, they signed a PGA Tour Live, and ESPN Plus signed a deal, a 9-year deal, I believe. And they were going to be doing 4 streams for every PGA Tour event. And that was going to start in early 2022. And I was lucky enough to be one of the lead directors on featured groups in January 2022 for the Amex Championship, which was the third tournament of the year. And the first time we had done all 4 streams coming out of the same truck at PGA Tour Entertainment. So, it was balancing. I've been able to balance the class with PGA Tour Live. I can move my schedule around a little bit, and Full Sail's been really, really cooperative with their course directors to make sure that they have people that are teaching it that are actually doing it. And that's what Full Sail is. It's a very hands-on university. And what more hands-on way can you get if you have a course director that is directing on ESPN, asking you to come up as a student to come see what is happening so you can be there. And then you're networking and connecting with people that are doing it and professionals that are doing it. So it really was a great marriage from the very beginning and became it is work to manage that schedule along with being a coach and being a father and things like that. But I like I said, I enjoy it and I am thankful that Full Sail is interested in allowing their course directors to continue working in their field so they can teach it.
Yeah. Uh, so let's go back to the beginning when you first started at the PGA and started all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The first time, what was your first ever live broadcast that you directed, and how did it go?
Okay, so that was at live broadcast was at Golf Channel. It was Oh, so I started there in January 2001. I was directing some tape shows, some leaderboard reports, statistical studio shows, and really getting my feet wet up the directing. And then in 2002, I directed a Golf Talk Live. It was one of the first times I had directed in studio, and it was an interview. I think it was Mark Rolfing interviewing Johnny Miller. So I think that was one of my very first shows that I had done, and it was an interview-based show. And I was an AD at the time still, but I think I was trying to prove myself that I could do these shows and do a good job with them. And then in 2003, so I believe that was the first live show that I did, and it was exhilarating and it was nerve-wracking and it was fun. But then the next year, Eric Saperstein was producing a show called Sprint Pregame and Postgame and talked to me at the end of 2002 that they wanted me to direct that show on a full-time basis. It's a Wednesday night and Sunday night show. And that was kind of the first pregame that we had done at Golf Channel where we were traveling a show and going to the events. And we did probably 10 events in 2003. And I was the lead director on that and traveling it with a lot of really talented people and taking that show on the road, audio, video, graphics, sets, cameras, everything. So I hadn't done a whole lot of that before, but you know, I think you need to make sure that you're given that responsibility and do your best with the responsibility. But I was still learning how to do all that while I was doing it. So, and we tell you all, the students, about repetition and doing it and getting yourself into position to challenge yourself and to do it. I can tell you that I was learning on the fly when I was asked to lead a national show on the road because I hadn't done a whole lot of that. So, and that started in 2003 at the beginning of '03.
Sounds like you had a great time. Sounds like it's very important to just do the thing when you're in the moment. You're gonna have to learn
Yeah,
a lot of stuff on the road, from what I
yeah.
just said. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different way of directing. It's a different way of leading. You're not in the studio, you're not in a control room as far as, at the Golf Channel, but you're now learning how to set up uh, remote trucks and how to work in the field and what your background looked like, doing site surveys and doing all kinds of things. But the main thing, Logan, a lot of this stuff that was happening, I certainly wasn't doing any of it on my own. I had a wonderful team of directors that I was working with that were supportive, producers, talent, hosts, analysts, a lot of really talented people that we were figuring a lot of it out together, but we always had a plan. We always had a rundown. We always had things that we were looking to do to advance and push the show forward to really brand the show the right way. So um, I was lucky to have been in that position at the time. I feel like I did a good job with it. And then I was asked to do more and more of these things. But I was always surrounded by really, really super talented people, and that ended up being able to call my friends, and I still do to this day. So that's a lot of what this industry is as well, and the fun that you have when you travel with people and you get to really know them in good times and bad as well. So
Would you say one of the most important aspects of your job would be the connections you make along the way?
I think it's number one. I think I've told you all this in my class as well. The relationships that you make in this industry are relationships that will help you through your career. And I am have been very lucky to meet a lot of, like I said, talented people, but good people that are willing to help and willing to do things with you to help you grow as well. I like to think that I'm a leader and I want to help others, but I was put in the position to work with so many people that would push me and challenge me and pull me forward as well. And those people are people I still call my friends, like I said. And I was just extremely lucky. And the relationships, it's important to build the relationships. It's also really important to foster the relationships and grow those relationships and I like to do that with kindness and being respected and doing a good job. I think that's how you can build a lot of those relationships that will continue with you through your career. You all have a big class. I had you all last November, I think. So you are 16, 17 now in that class, something around that. You all are each other's network and you guys can help each other through it as you have been for the last year and a half, but
Mhm.
you will continue to help each other through as you get into the industry. So never lose sight of that for sure.
All right. I know you have to go soon, so I'm gonna
Mhm.
try and wrap it up. I have one more question.
Very good.
For anyone getting into the industry, maybe they're dealing with student loan and they're thinking, oh, maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe it's time to throw in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to them? What would be your words of advice?
I would tell you to hang in there. I think there's opportunities everywhere in this industry. There's more now than even when I was coming up, 30 years ago. There certainly is more now with streaming, with social media, with all different kinds of things that you can do now. So I would tell you to continue looking for the opportunities, continue taking the opportunities that are right for you. Know that you're going to get feedback, and not some of it is not always going to be what you want to hear, but that's the feedback. The hard feedback is what you need to hear to improve and to get better, and that's what we try to do at Full Sail is to give you the honest feedback. I would tell you to keep going. It's not going to be a straight path to your final job. It just That's not the way this world works. But the people that you meet along the way, the relationships that you grow along the way will help get you to your final position. But it's going to take a long time to get there. And that's just enjoy the journey, enjoy the path. Don't look too far ahead in your future right away, right now, until you get into the position where you can maybe make some of those bigger decisions. Always put your family first and your friends first. Know that um, this industry it will be tough with the hours at times. They play golf on the weekends, so I missed a lot of weekends for a long time, but enjoyed it the whole time. Just know that you'll get the opportunity to do a lot of really good things and really fun things if you stay the course and continue taking it day by day and making sure you're getting better every day. Don't throw it in because of some adversity now. That's what's going to help you later on get to the position that you want to get to.
It's a lot of important words, a lot of important advice. Hopefully, anyone who decides to listen takes your words to heart.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
So,
you, Ruddy. I really
really,
appreciate the meeting. You gave a lot of important advice, a lot of good feedback. So,
no problem. Glad to help. Good luck on your assignment. Okay, and always happy to help you, Logan. Okay.
all right, thank you. Good luck at coaching.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
All
Take
right,
care.
bye.
Bye bye.